Have you ever felt lost? Like you're not sure which direction to go in, you're not sure which choice to make, not even sure you're on the right path. Or the one that was my biggest issue for a while is, what am I meant to be doing? What is my purpose? If you've ever felt misaligned, misguided, or even disconnected, what if I told you that there were 3 simple tricks you could start right now to find these answers? And what if I told you that you already hold the answers and you always have? I'm Liv, and I love talking all things subconscious, spirituality, self-development, and so much more. So the 3 things, I will start with number 1, is quieting your mind. With social media, with work, with family, responsibilities, future events, past traumas, all of these things can take up so much real estate in our minds. It can be really difficult for our intuition and our inner wisdom to compete with all of that noise. That's a lot of competition. Those are very energetically expensive things that we're dealing with because some of them are high stakes. Some of them invoke really strong emotions in us. Some of them have a time constraint on them or require our undivided attention and energy. But what if I told you that quieting your mind and checking in is something that only takes 1 to 2 minutes? And you could do it anywhere. You could do it in the car. You could do it at work. You could do it in the shower. You could do it anywhere at any time. These answers are always accessible to you. One way that you can connect back to yourself through quieting your mind is your breath. When you close your eyes and focus on your deep inhale and focus on your deep exhale, you can inhale all of your attention and all of your energy back into your body. And you can exhale and release all of the thoughts, all of the attachments, all of the responsibilities, the information that we absorb, release all of those things. And as you inhale what is yours back to you, and exhale what is not yours to be released, you can find the sense of stillness inside yourself. And in this stillness is where we focus back on our breath and we return to normal breathing. As other thoughts and such start to come up, we can acknowledge them and let them go. We can acknowledge that they're there instead of forcing them aside, but we can let them go knowing that we will get to it, but just not right now. Once the mind feels clear, once you're back grounded into your body, into this moment, you can ask yourself any probing question you have. Is this the person that's meant for me? Am I meant to be doing this? What could I be doing to better assist myself? How should I handle this situation? There's so many different questions that your intuition can guide you on. Quite frankly, all of them. So when you ask yourself that one question, trust what comes up. That's your intuition. You might be surprised by it. It often comes off very simple, very positive, and very grounded. If it comes off as a bit of fear or anxiety or anything like that, that's your anxiety talking, not your intuition. Anxiety is what happens when we are fearful, and that's the voice that can come up that is doubtful and trying to piece together future circumstances based off of what we have perceived in the past. It's doing that to keep us safe. Your intuition is not worried about any of that. So your intuition might have answers for you that surprise you. They might say, quit your job. They might say, end the relationship. They might say, pack your bags and take a trip. And they're things that would catch you off guard. And that's when your anxiety could creep in to try and shut all of those things down to keep you safe because it is uncertain of the outcome. But here's where we lead into component number 2, is learning how to listen to your body. When you ask yourself these questions, and when you hear answers coming up, check in with your body. Your body is very smart and very wise and can help you make decisions just like your mind can. So when you quiet your mind and you ask yourself those questions and you come back into your body, feel how that response feels. When you ask yourself something and you feel lightness, joy, expansion, excitement, pleasure, if something lights you up and makes you feel like you're growing and expanding, that's your intuition, and that is a yes. If you ask something and it starts to feel restrictive or dim or anxiety provoking or heavy or brings the ick, that's usually a no. And you'll know the difference. As much as we are humans with intellectual thinking minds, we are also very much still creatures of this earth that have evolved, that have this intelligence hardwired into our vessel that we can lean into more. Our intuition speaks through our heart space, and it considers the needs and the effects it has on everyone involved. Where when we use the thinking mind, the rational mind, the logical mind to make decisions, it's often just focused on that one aspect. It doesn't necessarily consider the highest good for everything. It's the most logical path, but that doesn't mean it's the most profound path or resonant path or positively potentialed path. But as we quiet our mind, take a deep breath, ask yourself a question, hear the answer, and then see how the answer sits. That's how we can really know how to communicate with ourselves better. As we practice those first two components, that can be done anywhere, anytime, oftentimes a little bit of fear can get stirred up, a little bit of uncertainty, some timidness, anxiety, especially if you're being called to try something new or do something bold or just something out of either your norm or the societal norm. This has happened to me many times where I've been called to jump and do and create or whatever it is. And I look around and it's something I've never done. It's something no one around me has ever done. And as much as it lights me up and creates space and excitement in my vessel, there's that curiosity and uncertainty that comes up over, well, okay, how? Now we know what the what is, but how are we going to get there? And number 3 is the one that I've personally enjoyed the most, as much as I have struggled with the most. And it is asking for signs and synchronicities, as well as trusting them. We work on a very energetic plane. Our energy gets put out into the world and we reflect and magnetize back experiences, people, sensations, opportunities in alignment to what we're giving off. So if you're being told to leave a certain scenario and welcome in the new that is coming, and you're not too sure or certain about it, even though it's the information you got and even though it sits well, it's normal and okay to question these things. But what you can do is ask for signs and synchronicities that it should happen, that this is the path you're meant to walk, to reaffirm and validate that experience that we had from tapping into our inner knowing, especially if it's in the beginning of this journey. And once we're receiving those signs and symbols, whether it's asking for certain birds or numbers or songs or scenarios to come up in our lives, that support and that we set the framework for the aspects that we're looking for. Some people say don't be specific with the signs and signals that you ask for. In my experience, by being specific, it allows Source to have a language to communicate with me through. So I spend lots of time outside for work, so I like to use license plates and birds because I drive around a lot and I'm outside a lot. And those are the 2 keys that I personally ask for to be used as signs and symbols. And as I see certain repeating numbers, I bring mindfulness and attention to what I'm thinking about. And oftentimes it'll be whatever I'm ruminating on, similar to what I brought up with my intuition. Or if I see a certain bird that evokes a certain feeling in me, that's when I'll know that that's a sign and synchronicity. Just as when you check in with yourself with those questions, how you can have a sense and a radar in your body that is the validity or the self-check of that mechanism. You can do just the same with your signs and synchronicities. If someone sends you a text, or you get an opportunity or an invite, or you hear a song and it makes your body shift in a certain type of expansive, light way, and you have this gut knowing, that's the connection you were looking for. That is what needs to be trusted. And the trust aspect is what I struggle the most with. And as I've leaned into it, especially deeply the last several months and weeks, it has really changed the game. Trusting yourself, trusting the signs that come up, trusting the wisdom that you have. It is really easy to question and criticize and try and rationalize these different concepts, but who's to say they're not accurate? Who's to say they don't make sense? They don't make sense to our logical thinking mind, sure. You can't explain everything that you sense and feel. Sometimes the explanation is, I simply just know. And you can't over-rationalize those things. But as you build that relationship with yourself, first, starting with quieting the stimuli and quieting the mind and allowing yourself to tap back into and hold space for and create space for that version of yourself that deserves it, that has the answers. As you make space for the you that has the answers already, and you're just asking for them to be revealed, you build that trust within yourself. And as you begin to walk and take steps towards that aligned version of you, the one that takes that information, that checks in with their body about it and sees if that has resonance or dissonance, and whether it's something that I feel expansive to go towards or constricted to move away from. On top of then building that information in with the signs and synchronicities that can happen around you, there's this whole energetic plane that we're interacting with that a lot of us don't even realize exists. And for me, I have a science background. I was very left-brained for a very long time. However, I learned that I wasn't getting the answers that I craved. I wasn't getting the sense of satisfaction and fulfillment and just purpose, or I wasn't getting that safety in myself, that knowing, that certainty. I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I used to be queen of I don't knows and sure whatevers and indecision, and I used to hate making decisions because I wasn't connected to my intuition at all. But as I've slowed down and I've asked her, she speaks and she's loud. And my body will confirm everything that comes up, and it's about trusting that source of information. It's taken me a long time to step in and trust the information that comes up for me. And a big part of that is because the information I'm getting is very intimidating. I am being called through my gut to walk a path that is very unfamiliar to me. It is very bold. It opens up so many doors that 5 years ago me, 1 year ago me, had no idea existed. But there are so many options and opportunities in this world. There are so many different ways that we can interact with and experience and enjoy and enrich this world around us. That who are we to think we already know it all, when all we really know is all we have experienced? Everyone has had different experiences, and there's value and beauty in those experiences. But what is most important is that alignment, that connection to ourselves, that trust that we can cultivate. We only get one life, and to live it not knowing and not feeling connected That is what terrified me. And that is what motivated me to start doing these practices. And I've started doing them extremely regularly. I'll spend 2 minutes deep breathing, asking myself, what do I need today? How can I best move towards my highest path? How can I serve myself or serve this opportunity or make the most of my day? And I'll receive information. I'll get ideas that come in. And then I'll sit there and check in with my body and say, how does this make me feel? How does this resonance ring? How do these words sit? And if I'm not feeling embodied or confident or powerful enough to just run with the idea after 1 and 2, then I'll go for 3. I'll say, okay, have someone text me out of the blue today what I need to hear. Have this come up again for me a couple of times so I know for sure. And lo and behold, I will have conversations later on without letting people know that this is something that's been on my mind and the information just comes to me. Or I'll walk past someone who's starting their car and the first few lyrics of whatever song happens to be on the radio before they turn it down is very pertinent to what is going on. I'll be thinking about something and working through something and I'll see a bunch of numbers, and I love numerology. I'll see all the numbers. And my connection for that is, if I see the numbers, what was I just thinking about? And what do those numbers mean in relation to what I was just thinking about? And lo and behold, it'll often be right after my mind circles back to my previous intention. Trusting yourself is huge. Trusting yourself will help guide you along the path that you deserve to walk. Trusting yourself may not be profitable for the big company you work for. It may not be favorable for the people that are taking advantage of or capitalizing on the role you play for them. But trusting yourself is the most powerful thing you can do. And walking the path that your intuition lays out for you is the biggest gift you could give yourself. With that, if you'd like more content like this, let me know. Comment below anything that comes up for you as you work through that exercise. I would love to hear how your journey is going, and sending you much blessings along the way.